stream as well, for those of you that want that. Pin that dog. And yeah, turn 1. We'll find out what happens. Maybe something, maybe nothing. Just don't know. Yeah. Good evening, Mr. Juice as well. I feel weird calling you Mr. Juice. You know? It also, Mr. Juice is kind of weird. Mr. Juice. Not sure how I feel about it, but, you know. I know. Sometimes, though, I just get into the habit of reading people's full names. It's a streamer dog. Most of the time, I would just call you Juice. I don't know why I decided to say your full name. Your full title. I tell you what, it's, the Mexican fans are they're wild, aren't they? In a good way. Bloody love it, don't they? I wonder if they'll love it as much next year, right? I predict that, and this isn't some sort of wild prediction, by the way. I think a lot of people would go along with this, that Sergio Perez won't be at the next Mexican Grand Prix. I don't think he'll be there next year. I think he'll be replaced. Here's the thing as well. Red Bull are going to win the driver's title this year, but I think they're going to lose the constructors. Next year, if it's the same as this with Ferrari, McLaren in the mix, they're going to need 2 drivers scoring decent points. And yeah, they don't currently have it. So I'm not sure Sergio is yeah. Thing is, Lewis had an absolute shocker at Austin, didn't he? He struggled, went out in Q1. You know, yeah, he had issues, but it was, you know, your pace. Then obviously had his mistake in the race. But Perez, I think it was 5 times so far this year in 20 rounds he's been knocked out in Q1. And that's not including times he's been knocked out in Q2. That's just Q1. Which is quite wild, really, in that car. So, and his home race as well. Yeah, not great. How you doing, Tilbo? I'm gonna put the... Yeah, let's do that. Perfect. Cheezoid, how you doing? Thank you very much for the raid. I appreciate you. We're just getting ready for the start of the race. Apparently going to be a one-stopper. Medium hard is the likely strategy for most teams. I expect to see some people that are starting at the back on the soft, though. Bing bong. Hello, Cheese. How you doing? Have you been playing Formula 1, Cheese? And if you have, has Will been involved? He bloody loves it. If Will has been involved, I hope you've been beating him soundly. Okay. What time is it? 3 minutes to go. Clocks went back as well. I honestly forgot about that. For those of you in the UK. Well, is it Europe as well? Clocks went back today. Eurosim, Euro Truck Sim, mate. Listen, I'm all about Euro Truck Sim now. I actually just want to go drive a truck. I'll be honest. Started playing Euro Truck Sim. Went on Truck Trade. I was looking at the prices of secondhand trucks. Not even gonna lie. That's literally what I did a few days ago. I wonder how much it'll be. Do you know the costs involved with running your own truck, other than the obvious fuel, tax, insurance, blah, blah, blah? If you're like a owner-operator, you have to pay like a license that's a regular license. There's loads of like extortionate fees just to run your own truck. It's absolute insanity. And that's beyond the obvious fuel, maintenance, insurance, all that jazz. There's like an operator fee that you have to pay. Yeah, the mariachis are bloody great. Yeah, I mean, it's expensive per tire. That's also a very good point, Bestie. I will say this. A lot of people have been saying, oh, you know, Carlos Sainz, he shouldn't have been let go. And I don't disagree with that. But he has had some average races this year as well. He hasn't, yes, he's had a good weekend, but he has had some bang average races. However, I think Carlos Sainz would have been a good replacement for Perez. I think he would have got... I don't think he would have beaten Max, but I think he would have got closer to him and consistently got more points in that Red Bull. Now, I do think it's a shame that you've got someone like Sainz who's going to end up in a Williams when he's still in a good position in his career. However, let's not forget something here. Carlos Sainz has now driven for McLaren, Ferrari, and was he at Red Bull or was it Toro Rosso? He was definitely a Toro Rosso, but he didn't go to Red Bull, did he? But he's been part of the Red Bull family. So he's been with the, 3 of the biggest organizations in Formula One, and for whatever reason, they've all let him go. So, worth considering. Evening, Tom. If there's anyone else I haven't said hello to, good evening. Anyone that's come across some cheese, as well as all of you folk getting ready for that turn 1 hotness. Welcome to the stream. Dag, how you doing? Well, listen, Sainz is he's a very handsome fellow, isn't he? So just going through the tyres here for you guys. Everyone in the top 11 is starting on the mediums. Then Lawson in 12th is starting on the hards. Then Alonso, Stroll, mediums. Bottas, Colapinto, hard. Of the 2 quick cars at the back, Piastri is on mediums, Perez on hards. Then Zhou Guanyu and Ocon both on hards. So Piastri, who is starting from the back, chose not to go long and run on hards, which is interesting. But he's got 2 cars ahead of him in a Sauber and a Williams running hards that he'll be hoping to get past reet quick. So, yeah, that'll be interesting. I wonder if Max Verstappen's engine will hold up. He's had a bit of an issue with it this weekend, doesn't he? I wonder if there'll be any sort of... I wonder if there'll be any sort of dramas there with his engine. Yeah. Did they actually replace the engine? I didn't think they did. In which case, absolutely fine then, okay. I didn't realise they'd replaced the engine. I thought they just fixed the issue. So we're not expecting an engine issue then. Okay. All right. Well, they're lining up on the grid. Still going to be a while for the cars at the back to line up, but Ocon's down from the pits. Very slow to line up. Ocon took a new... He was starting like 19th anyway, so he took a new... Not sure if he took a new engine, but he certainly took new engine parts. So he's starting from the pits. Made some changes to the car as well. Well, I didn't think they'd change Max Verstappen's engine. I thought they'd just fix the issue, but I'm happy. I could be wrong. Right, here we go. They've lined up. Lights are taking a while. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll go. Oh, it's a good start from Max. Really good start from Max. Oh, I think Norris went the wrong way there, guys. I think Norris went the wrong way. Oh, is a guy off at the back? I couldn't see who it was. Yuki Tsunoda. Oh, Sainz. Was that Sainz over the grass? Yeah, it was Sainz. He's giving it back. The two Mercedes going at it. Oy, oy, oy. Albon's going slowly. Hamilton got ahead of George Russell. And one of the Hasses was coming up the inside as well. Looked very racy. Safety car straight away. I need to see the incident again, but yeah, it looked like Yuki was going to smash into the back of George Russell to me. Yeah, Yuki straight into the wall. I thought he was going to smash into the back of George Russell there. I'll be honest, it wasn't as much of chaos as I was anticipating. Oh, Alex Albon's out of the race, guys. Yeah, so it was Albon that's made contact with Tsunoda. Let's watch this start again. Yuki was on the outside on the curb. Looked like he drifted across to me, but I'd need to see it from his perspective. Looked like Yuki drifted to the right. God, that is a close camera angle, isn't it? Yeah, I'm just going to take that. I'm just rewinding my feed a little bit just to see the start as well. Between the Ferrari and... So... Verstappen made a really good start. Not a good start for Carlos Sainz. I mean, honestly, if you go and look at that back, it does look like Max pushed Sainz off. Genuinely, he gave him zero room. Max just straight lined from the apex to the corner, and Sainz had to get out of it. Like, literally, he had to get out of it. So, but he won't be punished for it. Sainz obviously had to give that position back, which was the right thing to do. And it's first lap and all that, but... Max basically just went across the apex and then just went straight line to the edge of the track. And Sainz is just like, hello? Yeah. But I was ahead at the apex, so it's my corner. Them's the rules. You watch the race start again. Yeah, it wasn't a good start from Carlos Sainz at all. He just... Well, he pushes him off, like Like, it's clear as day every time. It's the first corner, so it'll be fine anyway, but... Are we watching from... All right, we're seeing from Yuki now. My first impression was that Yuki moved over to the right ever so slightly, and so we'll see. No. Oh, I mean, he was asking for trouble a little bit. They almost made contact 3 times. Yeah, so there was Gasly on the inside in the middle of the circuit, and then to the right of him was Albon, and then to the right of him was going Yuki, and they just concertina together. Yeah, it's really unfortunate. Oh my god, there's a loose tire just... Oh, yoy. Russell had a good start, but if you notice, he got behind Leclerc and left the slipstream. And Lewis got in the slipstream of Leclerc, breezed past, and then Lewis actually gave a lot of room to George through the first 2 corners. He could have really cut him off, but he didn't. Yeah, it's a very unfortunate incident for Yuki. Yeah, it was basically Albon was in the middle, and he had Yuki storming down his inside, and he had an Alpine on the right, and there's just nowhere to go. Yeah, it was just yeah. I thought Yuki was going to smash into the back of George Russell at one point. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Well, if Sergio is being investigated for a false start, I'm pretty sure that must be a slam dunk these days, isn't it? Because we've seen loads of potential false starts that they've never investigated when we've actually seen footage of them moving. Hold on. I'm watching it now. Oh my god, he's well out of his box, isn't he? He's well out of his box. He's about a foot forward. What the hell? What is he doing? Oh my god, Sergio. He can reverse backwards before the lights start, though. So he must not have realised. They've got these massive yellow lines. You can see on the feed where the yellow line is. He's miles beyond it. That's not a little infringement. That's a slam dunk. What the hell? I mean, I'm actually not 100% sure, guys. That might be a drive-through. I mean, I think that will at minimum be a 10-second penalty. That's not just a 5-second penalty. That's completely too far forward. I think that might be a 10-second penalty or a drive-through. Also, Perez did actually get up to 13th, by the way. Piastri is still in 17th. Okay, so the fact that he's asking why means he had no idea he was too far forward. That is madness. These guys have done these starts how many times? He must have known he was too far forward. That is wild. That is wild. That is... Oh, Sergio. Sergio. I mean, he was so far out of it. I'm just trying to work out. So honestly, for being out of your pit box, I'm honestly not 100% sure. I'm actually not sure. I mean, we're going to find out. I think being out of your pit box has to be a 10-second penalty off the top of my head. It has to be. I mean, this is definitely a one-stop now for everyone. It's a one-stop now. Penalty, Sergio Perez. Oh, it's only 5 seconds. Oh, that's insane. That is insane that that's only 5 seconds. That really surprises me because he's a foot out of his pit box and he gained 5 places off the start as well. That's insane that that's only 5 seconds. Because he gained 5 seconds in race time. Because if you imagine, if he doesn't get a boost at the start, he's got to get past those 4 or 5 cars. That'll cost him more than 5 seconds. That's definitely a win-win for him. Right, I can't believe that's only 5 seconds. I honestly thought that being out of your pit box would have been a harsher penalty. I am wrong. Clearly. Bonkers. Safety car in this lap anyway. Let me make sure I'm actually live. I am live. I feel like he was so far out of his box that had to be a 10-second penalty for me. What do you guys think? I don't want him to be punished. But it had to be 10 seconds based on how far forward he was. Have a look, he says. Sergio, have a look. I don't think we were. Jesus, Sergio, you were already in Brazil. What is he talking about? You were already on the grid in Brazil, Sergio. Come on. Anyway, right. We're about to restart. Max is holding the pack. Green flag. I don't think it was a great restart from Max there. I don't think he wanted to go where he went, but either way, he's still got a gap on Carlos Sainz, so. Also, Norris obviously didn't get the wonder start that he would have wanted. I still think Ferrari will have good race pace. So I'm not going to sit here and say that Max is going to run away with it because I'm not actually sure that he will. We'll see though. I know it sounds mad, but it's not actually that easy to overtake around here. And after I put my guide out, which is annoying, I found out that they'd reduced the DRS zone by like 70 meters on the main straight. Now, this is weird to me because it was the only overtaking opportunity at the race last year and most years. And because this track is in such high altitude, the DRS effect is reduced anyway because of the altitude. So it's weird that they made the decision to reduce the distance of it. But there you go. They did, so. Based on what I've seen, I think the Mercedes are already a little bit slower. Which won't surprise anyone. I think Max's only hope, really. I'm pretty sure Perez just cut turn 1 as well. I think Max's only hope is getting away. Yeah, but which Kimi, Jack? Kimi Antonelli or Kimi Raikkonen? Yeah, I'm doing all right, you know, chill Sunday. Had a delightful Sunday lunch. Lovely bit of pork, half price. Oof. Tell you what, it was delightful. Ooh, Sainz is on a bit of a charge now. He is in DRS. Oh, he's going for it. Sainz into turn 1. Oh, he's got over the curb, though. Did he keep it? Oh, I don't know. He went over the curb quite hard. It's hard to know if he kept it. Did Russell get past Hamilton as well? Because Russell was right behind Hamilton, and Hamilton's out of DRS of the Ferrari. It was a lunge, but he made it work. I just wondering whether he went off track at the end, though. Honestly, caught Max napping, and you don't say that very often. Well, I think he was all right. Yeah, you don't see that very often, but Max was not expecting that from Carlos. He was not expecting it at all. Oh, Max is angry. Oh, Lando's now in the fight. Oh, it's getting spicy now. Oh, Lando's going. Oh, they've made contact. Lando's... What? Oh, no, 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 no. What do they do now? Again, Max went too deep. Oh, they both got off. Oh, no. Oh, how do you deal with that? Oh, it's mental. Nah, 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 nah. Come on now, guys. Norris was so far ahead going into turn 3. He was so far ahead, and then he just pushes him off. Ah, it's not right, Michael. It's not right, Michael. It's not right now. Come on. That's just dangerous. I need to see all of that again because it all happened so fast. I mean, I need to see all that again, but that was too far in my first impression. So, Lando's going down into turn 3. He's miles ahead of him. Max almost takes out Carlos Sainz to stop Lando getting through, by the way. He actually accelerates through, runs him off the circuit. Max, again, just braking too late for a corner to say that he's ahead at the apex. And then Max sends it into the next corner and doesn't make the turn. Like, nah, guys, he has to be penalised for that. He has to be. If Max doesn't get penalised for one of those incidents, then... then what are we doing here? Do you know what I mean? It's just madness. He has to be penalised for that. He has to be. And because they did that, Charles Leclerc got through, and it's now a Ferrari 1-2 again. Listen, guys, this is such a regular occurrence now that they said after the last race that they were making adjustments to, you know, to the racing sort of rules. And I do agree with Martin. I think there's a likelihood that Max might get 10 seconds total, like a 5 and a 5 for that. They should give the position back. He's not gonna though, is he? Charles Leclerc with the fastest lap of the race. Oscar Piastri down in 16th still, by the way. Jesus. Perez is up to 11th, though. Now, also, by the way, this isn't fair. Lando has 2 track limit violations, but they're both caused by Max Verstappen pushing him off the circuit. That isn't fair. That isn't fair. They have to, if they deem a driver is at fault for it, they have to scrub those track limit warnings. They have to. That's not fair, is it? Because that's insane. It's insanity. That second move from Max just wasn't on. It wasn't on at all. Max, 10-second penalty. And he's only got himself to blame, like. He's only got himself to blame. There you go. I mean, that was too far. If they come together there, it was going to be a big accident. It was going to be a big accident if they came together there. Both Mercedes jostling. Oh, he's going to send it. No. The thing is, it's hard to get out of DRS, you know. The DRS is so strong around here. Well, it's not strong, but it's such a long DRS zone. Long straight. Max, honestly, Max being so cocky about that penalty, it actually makes me more angry than what he did himself. He just went 10. That's impressive. Like he didn't deserve it. Do you know what I mean? Like he's talking like he didn't deserve it, and he knows he deserved it. Come on. George Russell's going to be past Lewis here. I would anticipate. Yeah. And they've got a Haas right behind them as well. They've not actually been able to shake that Haas. It was close between them there. I was a little bit late from Lewis, I think. Yeah, Haas have been really, really strong. They're in 7th and 8th. Carlos Sainz is unhappy with Charles Leclerc. Lewis is really struggling. Like, he's already out of DRS. Like, he's already out of DRS of George. Like, well, he actually was lucky there that he kept it because he was out by the time they got to the straight, but he was obviously ahead during the detection point. So he's very lucky there. So, Fernando Alonso, that's an early pit. So Lewis very much struggling in that Mercedes. Oh, he's retiring. Alonso retiring. Oof. So that's the 3rd car out. Yeah. No team orders at Ferrari. I mean, I don't see why they would need any at the minute because, you know, none of them are fighting for the title. You've also got a weird situation now where Hamilton has dropped out of the DRS of Russell, but Magnussen has him in DRS range. So Hamilton's actually going to struggle to stay ahead of Magnussen here. Jay, thank you for the 95 months. Twitch Prime. Thank you so much. Time zones do suck. It's true. Why don't we develop a system that can control the sun to ensure that we are all in the same time zone? I'm sure it will be exceptionally simple. We will just need some, let's call them sun replicators in space, that replicate the sun around the world. You know, I mean, simple stuff. So Verstappen's going to get that 10-second penalty when he pits. But at the minute, Mercedes are so slow that I don't think it's going to cost him that many positions. Well, by the time the end of the race happens... Oh, no, don't say... Oh, come on, Sergio. Oh, carbon fiber. Sergio, you're making yourself look like a fool. What are you doing? That move wasn't on. It was way too late. Sergio. Oh, dear. You can't call Lawson an idiot for that. He's waited so late in a slow corner and then put it down the inside. It was so clumsy from Checo. So clumsy. And now Perez is 3 seconds behind Lawson. Oh my God, Sergio Perez is in trouble from Lance Stroll. That's when you know you've had a bad day. Oh, come on, man. More carbon fiber? Yeah, I don't know about that, guys. Another 10-second penalty for Max Verstappen. $20 total for the two incidents. One for forcing another driver off the track, and then another one for the turn after where he sent it and gained an advantage. I mean, he fucking deserves it. And he's got away with so many. That's huge. That's a whole pit stop. That's huge. I mean, honestly, guys, that second one was fucking dangerous. Like, he's got away with so much that it's about time they finally clamp down on it. Honestly. Also, Perez has his 5 seconds from the start. He's also been noted for forcing another driver off the track. Perez could end up with 10 seconds as well. Oh. There just wasn't... There wasn't room with the Lawson. There just wasn't room with Sergio Perez and Lawson. Also, oh, he's got damage on the side pod now. Yeah, well, Sergio, you've got yourself to blame there, mate. You're just trying to send it to make up for lost time, and he's desperate. It's his home race. Here's the issue, though. The people, the engineers at RB, are not going to be slating Perez, going, "Yeah, we know, guys, he's an idiot," because they're the same team. So they can't. They've got to just be like, "Oh yeah, Perez is pitting." They're not going to retire Perez, are they? It's way too early for a one-stop. Colapinto and Piastri. Piastri into 12th now. They've stopped him and they've put him on mediums. He might have had a puncture, you know, guys. Because he's not going to go to the end of the race on those mediums. He's going to have to two-stop. Weird. Well, I mean, he has... They've basically gone, okay, Sergio, you're an absolute fucking liability. So what we're going to do is pit you, get rid of your penalty, and then just put you in clean air so you can't smash into anyone. Okay? You're an absolute liability, mate. So Sainz currently winning by 3 seconds. Norris is also catching Max Verstappen, by the way. Now, knowing Max as I do, even though he has a 20-second penalty, he will not yield to Norris. you know, he's not going to yield. Do you know what though? And I don't really want to go back to this. We needed this sort of enforcement in 2021. How many times did Max do this in 2021? Brazil, you know, like an absolute dangerous level of hitting the apex, never making the corner, but stopping someone overtaking you. This happened in 2021 and they let it slide. So this is because they've let it slide for so many years. And again, it's not a fault of Max. He's abusing the rules, but he has been taking it too far. Listen, Max, I think the way Max responded there, I think he knows what he's done there. He's trying to save face, but his reaction to me implies that he didn't seem that angry. I think he knows full well. He knows full well. Yeah, he's been doing it for years and he's been getting away with it. You know, because, and this is the problem, the rules say if you're ahead at the apex, it's your corner. So what Max has been doing, and I'm not saying it's not smart, he's been braking so late that he makes the apex first, even if he doesn't make the corner. And he doesn't, most of the time, make the corner. But he's like, well, I'm ahead of the apex. And so, there's the rules. But after last weekend, the FIA have appreciated that they need to take a look at it. And thankfully, they've taken, you know, a harsher stance now. So, that's good. I don't understand. I really don't understand why they paid Sergio. I really don't. I mean, I understand that he's in a bit of a dogfight with cars around him. But now, I mean, he's got to go on mediums to the end of the race. That's never happening, is it? So Piastri's made his way up to 11th, I think. Yeah. The way I look at it, I think if Max pitted now, he'd come out in 9th. Well, no, Checo does have hards, but he started on hards. So they've gone to mediums so that they cover off the rule. If he'd have gone on to hards, he would have had to have stopped 100%. Going on to the mediums, he technically doesn't have to stop again, although I don't see how he's making those mediums last. Norris is now very, very close to Verstappen, back within DRS. So this could get spicy over the next few laps. I mean, yeah. The problem is Max wants exactly what Martin Brundle just said. So Martin Brundle said that Lando should treat that Max's, Red Bull like the hind end or the hind legs of a donkey. And that's exactly what Max wants. He wants drivers to be, scared of his wily ways. Yeah, I think it's about 23 seconds pit lane. So, I mean, if Max pitted... Well, sorry, actually, it's a very good point. If Max pitted, he'd come out... When I said if he pitted, he would come out behind, I meant like net. But you're right, it would be like 43 seconds he'd come out. So 40... Yeah, probably 45 seconds. So, I mean, he would be way down the order when he pits. But I'm expecting other cars around to pit at the same time, so I still think the net position he'll be in is around about 9th. But if he stays out long enough, he can still build more of a gap. But he's saying on the radio that his tyres are done. I don't think it is, Tilbo, because I think after those first incidents, if he caused an incident with Lando now, there could be serious repercussions, I think, depending on the severity of it. So, yeah. Hamilton really struggling now. He's 4 seconds behind Russell. Half a second slower per lap. Russell doing some pretty decent laps out there. In fact, I mean, Russell matched Leclerc last time around. Hamilton's just got 0 race pace. They're going to box Max Verstappen. Now, that is interesting because now they can't hold up Lando. So they're going to have to do his 20-second stop now. $20 seconds as well. Colapinto's going through. I think Lance Stroll came into the pits. So Verstappen's going to be in 12th. No, he's going to be worse. Yeah, he's 15th, but obviously a lot of these cars ahead are going to have to stop. So he's not really net 15th. Like I say, he's realistically net 9th, give or take. We're going to see how that pans out at the end of the race. Imagine. Yeah, sorry, you were pumping air, cooling air into the car. It's definitely affecting the car. You've been working on it. That's another 10-second penalty. Carlos Sainz is managing the pace really well out front, by the way. 6.7 seconds ahead of Leclerc, who's 6.6 ahead of Norris. Then he's got the 2 Mercedes. Like I said to you, Hamilton's losing touch with Russell quite badly now. He's 5 seconds behind George Russell. And that's not just managing tyres, that's just poor pace from Lewis. He's like 6-7 tenths of a second slower every lap. Lawson is up to 9th. Piastri's up to 10th. I'm going to box Lewis. I mean, considering how slow he was, that doesn't really surprise me. Slow stop for Lewis as well. So he is now behind Piastri, but obviously Piastri hasn't stopped yet. So Max has had to stop quite early, and he's got to make his way through quite a bit of traffic. So, I mean, that in itself is going to work the tires more as well. So we'll see how Max is toward the end of the race in terms of pace. I mean, I know it sounds like you're saying this, you would be accused of British bias, but I'm glad that Max was punished just to stop him from doing that sort of maneuver. You know, they had to get on top of that sort of mindset of just sending it into a corner so that you could claim the corner, even when you didn't make the corner yourself. And they've made that problem, the FIA, by the wording of the rules. But at least now, you know, there's a precedent for common sense of, obviously, you know, yeah, okay, you've gone over the line there, you know? And so, yeah, the second maneuver was really dangerous. It was very similar to what he did in Brazil, mind you. And they didn't punish him there. And if Ferrari carry on like this, they're going to win the constructors, because McLaren are in a bit of a bother where last couple of races, you know, Piastri hasn't really been, you know, doing great. I mean, what are you talking about? Stay ahead of Lewis Hamilton, Crofty. Hamilton's like fucking 20 seconds behind Norris. What are you on about? Norris is going into turn one and Lewis is coming down the pit straight. Charles Leclerc's going to box now. Fast lap from Charles Leclerc, though. Yeah, he's like Norris. Charles Leclerc pitting. Yeah. Oh, I say, yeah, it looked quick, but it was 3.1 seconds. As George Russell pits as well. Again, not a great stop for Mercedes either. Just under 3 seconds. Now, Russell's come out behind this fight between Piastri and Lawson, which isn't ideal for him, but... God, I hate the look of that steak Sauber. It's so hideous. Because Piastri, even though he's been on those tyres for a long time, is still going to be pretty quick. Well, a lot of cars ahead have pitted, CB. So he won't be fourth when he actually pits, but he's currently in fourth. I'm surprised Piastri gave that up. I mean, it makes sense that he didn't because he's not racing him. He's a pit stop ahead, but even still, I'm still quite surprised that he gave it up as easy as he did. Well, Lawson's not driver of the day yet. He hasn't even pitted yet. Well, I can understand why Russell isn't happy, really. It felt like there was no need for them to pit so early. Hamilton, I can understand his pace was dropping off. But the others, like Russell and others, I don't think they needed to. Russell, especially, his race wasn't with the McLaren, so he didn't need to worry about the undercut or anything. Why did Piastri defend against Hamilton, but he didn't defend against Russell? He literally moved out of the way for George Russell, but he defended against Hamilton. That is so weird. Oh, God, this is ruining. Oh, Hamilton sent it on Lawson there. He literally moved over for George Russell, but then defended against Lewis, even though he's in the same situation with Lewis. It's weird. I think he didn't want Lewis getting through because he wanted to take the opportunity to get through on Lawson, I guess. And I think now he's ahead of Lawson, he'll let Lewis come through, would be my guess, but because it looked like he just let Russell through without even fighting it, which would make sense, but he actually defended against Lewis. Anyway. No, he won't defend now, because there's no point defending now, which makes sense. He just didn't want Lewis getting through, messing up his opportunity to get past Lawson, I think. But then as soon as, he's past that, he'll let him through because he knows that he's not racing him at this point. So that makes sense. So, Piastri still has to pit, as does... who else hasn't pitted? Piastri, Lawson, Colapinto, Bottas, Ocon, and Zhou Guanyu all haven't pitted. Piastri's been on those tyres for 35 laps now, by the way, so that's impressive. Verstappen is right behind Colapinto, and then, and this is why having two teams is bullshit, the next driver is Liam Lawson. Now, Liam Lawson ain't going to hold up Max Verstappen, because if rumours are to be believed, Liam Lawson has a chance of replacing Sergio Perez at Red Bull next year. So, he's just going to go, hey, Max, come on through. Because that's what he'll do, obviously. George Russell telling Mercedes to check the front wing. Not quite sure why, but he is. And this is a whole different topic, but one organisation should never, ever be allowed to have two teams. They say they ran independently, but we saw what happened with the fastest lap. And you could say, well, that was because they knew it was Daniel Ricciardo's last race, which is what I think happened. But on the surface, it looks like something else. I just think that, yeah. I think ultimately I think ultimately those two teams being owned by the same company is just not right. I mean, Carlos Sainz is winning by 7.8 seconds at the minute. He's quicker. Norris doesn't have an answer, and Charles Leclerc doesn't have an answer. He's been really quick this weekend, Carlos. Really quick. Oh, yeah. George Russell's got a broken front wing. The left side of that front wing is broken. Well, I hope that doesn't come back to misfire for Sainz. George is going to have to hope that front wing doesn't get any worse. I mean, his pace is fine at the minute, but he has to just hope that it doesn't fall off or something. My guess is with George. My guess with George, he's gone over a curb too hard. Right, Verstappen has got past Liam Lawson now, and Liam Lawson, I'm blown away by this, guys. It didn't defend. Oof. To be fair, and to play devil's advocate here, if you're Liam Lawson, regardless of whether you're a Red Bull driver or not, there's no point in dirtying your tyres, trying to defend against Max there. He's going to come. He's a faster car. He's pitted. There is no point in defending. All joking aside, there's just no point. So, two Haas drivers running really well. Magnussen and Hulkenberg both running really well. And they've been quick as well. What do you think? We haven't actually spoken about this. What do you think about this Williams livery? It's kind of like a retro throwback, but they've been a bit half-assed with it, haven't they? Just with the yellow bit on the engine cover. It's a little bit half-assed. I don't think it works that well with the current livery. I think if they had just put a little bit more effort into it, maybe, but... Oof. Colapinto having quite the issue with something getting stiff, then soft, then stiff. That's quite the problem. I can't say I've ever had to deal with such issues, but I'm sure it could be quite alarming. The Rothmans era. Do you know, it's so bizarre, really, when you think about it. So many of the most iconic Formula One liveries all centre around brands rather than liveries, don't they? They're all around brands, and usually cigarette brands. Like, all of the best liveries are based around brands, and a lot of them were cigarettes. Although, actually, I've just refreshed my memory. It's hard to know. The Williams of the F2004, it had Camel branding on it, but it also had Canon branding all over it. Either way, mostly cigarette brands. Sergio Perez now, guys, is really struggling. He's down in 16th. He does have damage to his side pod, but I mean, I don't really have much sympathy for him because I believe it was pretty self-inflicted. So that may sound harsh, but yeah. Verstappen is now running in 6th place, and he served his penalty. So all of the top runners have pitted, and Verstappen is now in 6th. He's currently 7.8 seconds behind Hamilton, but he's a whole pit stop now behind Norris. So unless some miracle happens or some sort of safety car or anything like that, Verstappen, I think he'll be able, well, but depending on his pace, he might be able to catch the Mercedes, but he's not going to catch Norris. It's getting really dark. Just before the race, apparently, the weather forecast changed to more of a 20-30% chance of rain. Perez is about to be overtaken by Liam Lawson. That's what I like to call if. That's a big if. Yeah, imagine if we just threw it down at the end of the race. I think the chance of rain is still very low. It's like 20-30%. So it's not going to... I think it's unlikely, but... It was less than 10% earlier in the week, so there is more of a rain cloud. I mean, Verstappen isn't doing lightning fast lap times at the minute. He is slower than the Mercedes. I mean, Russell did a 20.9 last time. Hamilton did a 21.2. Verstappen did a 21.7. So, I mean, Verstappen isn't actually doing a pace good enough to catch the Mercedes at this moment in time. Well, Russell's saying he's got raindrops on his visor. Okay. I don't think that's rain. Yeah, I think it's sweat. This has happened before with him. It's been sweat. I'm not sure it's rain because we've just heard from Red Bull and they said there's nothing on the forecast, so I don't think. Verstappen saying he's got no grip, guys. Could be sweat. Piastri now coming up behind Gasly and Bottas. That McLaren's so quick. Nico Hulkenberg got past Colapinto, so both Haas is now running in the points in 7th and 8th. I mean, if Piastri puts his foot down, he could catch Max Verstappen, you know. He's got 30-odd laps to do it. I don't think Max is going to bin the Red Bull, CB. Max doesn't bin cars in races very often. In fact, I don't remember it. I don't remember him ever making an unforced error where he crashed off in a race. I'm sure he has, but I don't remember it. I mean, I wouldn't have been able to tell you when the last time Lewis did it, like unforced in a race, until last weekend, obviously. I can't remember the last time Max made a mistake in a race where he binned it. I'm talking about not making contact with another car, where he just made a mistake and went off. I can't remember it. I'd need someone with a better memory to talk about that. Well, Sainz hasn't reported anything else. I think Perez has just been lapped, by the way. Has he? Yeah, Perez just got lapped. Nah, see, again, like I'm talking about in the race, not before the race, not in qualifying, not when making contact with another car. Do you remember when Max just made an unforced error in the race and crashed off by himself? Like, I can remember when Charles Leclerc did it. You know, in France, for instance, when he was leading the race, I can remember when he did it. I can't remember when Max just, in a race, made an error on his own and went off in the race. I just don't remember it. Hungary, he did, but I think that was going to the grid in the wet, Wiggle. I could be wrong. Again, I'm hoping someone will be able to recall a time, but I can't. But if you're struggling to find it, it's because it just doesn't happen very often. Whether you like Max or not, he's super consistent. You know, he's consistent and he doesn't make mistakes. Not very often. That's what makes him one of the best, isn't it? So Verstappen is a lot slower than the two Mercedes drivers. He was about 0.3 slower last time around, but it's consistently there or thereabouts. So he hasn't gained on the Mercedes drivers. He's actually lost ground to them. Sainz, on the other hand, is doing a quick lap time, but also is Charles Leclerc. They're roughly 20.5 each. Piastri also did a 20.5, so Piastri's matching the pace of the leaders at the minute. Norris did a 20.3, but is it a bit too late for that? I don't know. We know that McLaren is lightning quick at the end of the race, so if Norris can catch Charles Leclerc, you know, but he's only a couple of tenths quicker, and he would need to be more than that, I think, if he was going to catch. So we'll see. Oh, we haven't actually spoke about this, but they're ditching fastest lap next year. Did I tell you? They're ditching the point for fastest lap because of what happened with the RB and, you know, Red Bull. Hold on, Wiggle. Hold on. There you go. You can post it again for anyone else that wants to see it. Ranked in order of how many of the DNFs were caused by driver error. Oh, I think I have seen this before. So, like, Hamilton's percentage is quite low, considering how many races he's run. I imagine Verstappen's will be quite low. That 17% doesn't seem right to me. Driver error, 8. Nine. Oh, it's the percentage of DNFs that were driver error. Is that what it is? See, that's a biased stat because it'll only be, let's say, 30 DNFs. And if 3... I'm not really sure I like the way that's done, but... Because Max's is quite high, the same as Lewis. You know, because you got Verstappen, 25.8. Hamilton, 30? Russell, 31, which... Sainz 32, which seems quite high. Then you got someone like Kevin Magnussen who makes mistakes all the fucking time at 22. This doesn't really make sense. This is a biased stat because it's also based on how many races you've DNF'd in total. So if you didn't DNF any races, but you DNF'd 3 because of driver error, you could still be way less than other drivers, but your stat would be 100%. What it should be is percentages of unforced errors for the amount of Grand Prix you've taken place in. So forget the non-forced errors. Forget them. Just go and say, I've been in 100 races. I've made an unforced error in 5 of them. That's your percentage for unforced errors overall. And do that for every driver. I think that's a more fair stat. And yeah, Bottas is only 12% because he's only made 3 driver errors. I mean, Bottas is very consistent. And Bottas has always been consistent. I just think he hasn't had that sort of world-class pace, but he's always been consistent. One sec. Oh. Right. So George's been struggling, obviously, with his front wing issue. But George is pretty good at managing his battery and what have you, I think. I think he'll be saving that. He'll be going really slow through the S's where Lewis can't get past. And then he'll save his battery for the back straight, for the pit straight. So we'll see what happens with this as Bottas pits. How's Max Verstappen getting along? He just did a 21 flat, which is a good lap for him. Not quick in the grand scheme of things, but quicker than he has been doing. George getting a good exit out of the final corner, which means that Lewis is too far back down the pit straight. Lewis needs a better exit out of that final corner. He's not close enough into turn 1 because he's too far back at the final corner. So Norris is now, it's still around 4 seconds. It's 3.9. Like Norris did a 20.4 last time around, but the two Ferraris did well, Leclerc did a 20.3. Sainz did a 20.8. So Norris is quick, he's just not quick enough. And Piastri's going quick, but I don't think he's got enough pace to catch Verstappen because he's like 12, 13 seconds behind Verstappen. Yeah, Lewis had a lockup going into the penultimate corner, lost time again. So, yeah, I don't think Piastri's quick enough to get past, to catch Verstappen. So I think Verstappen's currently 6th place is what he's working with. Bree, how you doing? No, well, he doesn't have the pace to catch them. He's not going to catch them on pace, Wiggle. The only time he's going to catch the Mercs is if they trip over each other. Because Max is over 12 seconds behind the Mercs now and lapping slower. George doing well here, though. He's got a slightly damaged car, and he's holding Lewis behind. You know, he's managing it well, I think. Lewis is struggling so much out of that final corner. You can see the car just... It's so unsettled through that final corner, so he just doesn't... He doesn't have a good run down the straight, because he's just too far back. You see how much he's struggling for traction. Karloff, thank you so much for the 20 months. Yeah, Lando's at 4 seconds. He's been at 4 seconds for quite a while. He's just not really making any headway. Lewis just no traction out of that final corner. Oh no, 20 seconds was absolutely deserved. It was absolutely deserved. Well, okay. But it was. I mean, it was. He ran someone off the road twice, including one that could have been super dangerous. I mean, he deserved it. And, you know, they finally gave him a penalty that was deserving of what he was doing. I mean, they wouldn't have given him a drive-through, but, you know. 10 seconds and 10 seconds, I mean... I don't think he can complain about it. Based on what he did. And I think you could tell from his reaction. He was just a bit sarcastic with it, but he wasn't like... He wasn't pleading his case in the car like he normally does, because he knew he was dead to rights. He knew. Perez didn't do the same. It was nowhere near as bad, but I think Perez should have been penalised as well. So if we're being clear, Perez should have been penalised as well. But don't come and say Max didn't deserve a penalty. Jesus. Like, come on. He's doing it all the time. Like, come on. He deserved a penalty. He deserved a penalty, and he very much got one. But it is what it is, you know. At the end of the day, you could talk about these penalties till you're blue in the face with the FIA and what they give and what they don't give. I think the second one undoubtedly deserved a 10-second penalty. And I think the reason they gave the first one a 10-second penalty is because once again Max braked way later. He couldn't make the corner specifically to keep a driver behind, and he does it so often now, and the car was under, not under control, that they had to give him a penalty for it. Now they can decide if it's 5 or 10. And they decided it was worthy of 10 for once. So it is what it is. I mean, you've got no argument off me that they're inconsistent. I think we can all agree with that. They're certainly inconsistent. I think that's everyone's problem. It doesn't matter who you support, or the FIA being inconsistent is everyone's complaint. If they were fair across the board, but I mean, they're not. This was a huge issue, Austin, because there was times, when George got penalized 5 seconds, and then the Lando and Max incident down into, what was it, turn 12 in Austin. There was numerous cars going through there, and there was a couple of situations where a few of them weren't penalized for pushing car off, and others were. And it's all about the interpretation of the rules. And here's the other issue. There's different stewards every weekend. 3 stewards different every weekend. So some of them will have slightly different interpretations of the rules. So Norris is now only 2.5 seconds behind Charles Leclerc, by the way, while we've been nattering. He was half a second quicker than Charles Leclerc last time around. I don't think Lewis is going to get past George, by the way. It just doesn't look like he's quick enough. Like, he's in DRS now. He's quicker in clear air, but he can't get past him down the straight. Yeah, Lando is gaining a bit. What was that about Johnny Herbert, Tilbo? Has he been saying something? Oh, right. He's the steward. Sorry. Yeah, I see. Yeah. Johnny Herbert's a steward quite a lot. Now, he's not on Sky Sports anymore. I don't know if that's a decision of his or a decision of theirs, or they just, he was doing other things, but he doesn't seem to be a pundit anymore. Hmm. Lando! God, Lewis, just go past. What's wrong with you? Yeah, Lewis is like much quicker, but he just can't. He's just not quick enough in a straight line. But he's also not quick enough in that final sector. That's where he loses time. You can literally see it. By the time he gets to the final corner, he's dropped back enough that Russell has enough ahead of him by the time, and he just doesn't gain enough down the straight. Norris is now only 1.1 seconds behind Charles Leclerc. This is quite important, actually, for the championship, because the more points he can get is great for him with Verstappen down in 6th. Well, yeah, obviously Hamilton caught him, but he just doesn't have the speed delta to get past down the straight, so... Lewis just drifting. Will Norris be able to get past Charles Leclerc? That is the question, isn't it? Ooh, Charles Leclerc on the curb there. Oh, George isn't going to let him through there. Oh, yeah, George is never going to let him. George is never going to let him get past through there. Hamilton loses so much time through the S's as well. Have you seen that? Lewis was right behind George and then, yeah, gapped him through the S's. And yeah, Norris 30 seconds ahead of the Mercs. That's wild, isn't it? Yeah, he's not close enough when he gets to the pit straight. So the DRS is just not going to get him past because he's simply not close enough. He loses so much time in that last sector. Yeah, Max is only catching because they're losing time. He's not catching on pace. He's only catching because he's caught a couple seconds because they're squabbling, but... Norris is just got into DRS range with Charles Leclerc. Yeah, Norris is now in DRS. I don't think Norris has anywhere near enough pace to catch Carlos Sainz. And plus, he'd have to get past Charles Leclerc first. Charles Leclerc's off! Oh! Charles Leclerc almost went off then. Well, he went off the track, but he was almost in the barriers. Oi, oi, oi. He's never going to catch... Why are they talking like he's going to catch Carlos Sainz? There's 8 laps to go, and Carlos Sainz is 8 seconds away, and they're doing the same lap times. Oh, yeah, he got an absolute tank slapper on, did Charles Leclerc. He's so lucky that he caught that. That was close. That was very close. And he's already out of DRS as well. Yeah, you're going to need a clean up in that cockpit. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I mean, Perez is in 16th. You know, he's not scoring any points because of his damage to his side pods. Honestly, I'm sick of seeing this Hamilton-Russell fight. I mean, I can't believe he hasn't managed to get past him. I'm sick of seeing the back of George Russell's car. Oh my God, they're about to come up behind Sergio Perez to lap him. Both these Mercedes about to come behind Sergio Perez, I think. That was close from Lewis. That was very late from George, though. That was very late. Or it looked late from the camera angle because it only flipped really... it flipped quickly. Oof. I'm sure it wasn't as late as it looked, to be fair. So the drama at the start, well, basically, there was a little bit of an issue with Tsunoda going off, and he made contact with Albon. But the main issue was Max forcing Lando off the track no less than twice in consecutive corners, quite badly actually. And he was given 2 separate 10-second penalties. And yeah, I don't see how he can have any complaints. I really don't. Oh, I think Lewis is past, you know? But Lewis Hamilton's got past Russell after about 1 million laps. Yeah, basically, Johnny, I mean, both of the moves were out of order from Max, but it's the sort of thing Max has been doing. I think everyone here agreed that the second move from Max especially was very dangerous. The second move from Max was very dangerous, and he was deserving of a 10-second penalty for it. So Liam Lawson and Colapinto just came together. Oh, that's clumsy. Very clumsy. I mean, they've had to change Lawson's front wing. I mean, honestly, just retire the car. Oh, hello. Hello. Soft tyres, RB. Liam Lawson's going to go for the fastest lap now, is he? Ironically taking it off Lando Norris. Spicy. Yeah, the RB taking it off Norris again. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, he had to change his front wing, so. But he can't get into the points. You may as well just retire the car at that point, or go out for fastest lap to take it off our rivals. But we're not associated with the Red Bull team, but we kind of are. Well, I'm not saying he's going after the fastest lap, but he's going out on soft tyres at the end of the race on low fuel while everyone else has been running around on hards. The chance of him getting the fastest lap is very high, isn't it? Norris was 7/10 quicker than Sainz last time around, but there's just too much of a deficit. They've left it too late. He's very quick compared to Sainz, but he's not quick enough because he doesn't have enough laps left. Yeah, Perez calling Liam Lawson an idiot is hilarious considering it was Perez's fault. Like, honestly, it's hilarious to me. And also, it wasn't Lawson's fault. Again, like, he's had contact with Perez and Colapinto, and neither were his fault. It's difficult, though. In the car, you are biased, and you think it's not your fault. And then sometimes you need to come out and look. This is the same. I know it's completely different, but it's the same in iRacing. When you're in that cockpit view, you believe it wasn't your fault. Then you watch the replay and go, do you know what? Actually, I moved over, or that's at least partly on me. You just need another perspective. You need to cool off and see the replay, and then you'll... I'm not saying he'll admit that it was his fault, but I mean, when you look at it back, he'll see it differently, I think. And there's that extra temperature on the situation because Liam Lawson is potentially taking his seat. So it's even spicier, you know? And now they're going to box Charles Leclerc for fastest lap, which makes sense because they're 30 seconds ahead of the Mercedes. And Liam Lawson just took the fastest lap. He did a 19.5. So they'll go and box Charles Leclerc now to get the fastest lap. Yeah. Lawson won't keep that fastest lap, though, I don't think. Here's the thing. They can't box Norris because they boxed Leclerc at the exact right lap. Because when he now crosses the line, he'll be on the final lap. He'll have this lap, lap 70, to heat his tyres, lap 71 to do the lap. Norris, if he boxed now, wouldn't be able to do it. Well, now they're going to pit Perez to do the fastest lap to steal it. What a joke. But obviously Perez can't get the point from it because he's out of the top 10, but he can stop other teams gaining the point. They can do that with Perez because he was so far back. But do any of you disagree with the penalties Max had? Do any of you think they weren't worthy? He wasn't worthy of a penalty? Because I think, honestly, those penalties have been coming for years. Like, that second one was borderline, you know, I mean, you might maybe not even borderline, dangerous. Like, both cars could have been in the barrier. I don't hate the fastest lap. I just hate the fact that you've got a team or a company that owns two teams and they claim that they're independent, but it always seems like there's situations when RB are going for fastest lap at the end of the race when it's McLaren that have the fastest lap and not Max. But when Max has the fastest lap, they're never going for it. And you could argue that's coincidence. Maybe it is. So, Carlos Sainz, a much-deserved win. He's led from start to finish. Well, apart from losing it to Max Verstappen at the beginning and then getting it back. But he made a very good move on Max Verstappen. Actually caught him napping after a few laps and got through, and that made his race. And that's important for Lando. A little bit of damage limitation there. He'll gain a few points on Max. But that's game over for the constructors for Red Bull now. That's game over for the constructors. Did Charles Leclerc get fastest lap? Yes, he did. Well, the rule is fastest lap for the top 10 car. Well, you can only gain the point if you're in the top 10. But if you do the fastest lap outside of the top 10, you can't get the point, but you can take it away. So what you're saying is it should be whoever did the fastest lap in the top 10. So if you do the fastest lap and you're not in the top 10, it doesn't count that lap, is what you're saying. Yeah, which I don't disagree with. That would stop some fuckery, wouldn't it? Perez crosses. He boxed for fastest lap and didn't get it. Oh, God. Poor Perez. He was I think he was a second away from fastest lap as well. I think he was a whole second away from getting fastest lap, Perez. Bless him. Yeah, it was a good weekend from Carlos, wasn't it? It was a good weekend. It was a good weekend. No, he was nowhere near fastest lap. So, Norris gained, what, 10 points on Verstappen, did he? I still don't think it's enough. Max needs to have multiple weekends like this to get anywhere near. Well, that's also very true, Afi, yeah. He had a completely fucked car. I mean, Perez was never going to have it. He had terrible pace all day. So in some respects, it was just for sentimental reasons, and it's his home race, you know. And desperation, you're right. It was an element of desperation in it. Hey, that's harsh, that Shock. I won't have that slander against Perez. You know, I won't stand for this slander against Sergio Perez. I've been saying all season that Sergio Perez is just hard done by. He's had the pace, and if he gets the right tools and the right car, he can be a world champion because he's good enough. But all he needs is the right car and the right tools, and what he needs is a team that aren't working against him, you know? Because right now what he's got is obviously he's got one of the slowest cars in the Red Bull. And it's been obviously slow for a couple of years now. So how could he possibly win races in that? And he's obviously got a teammate that, isn't really getting any points. So isn't really helping him out. So if he just gets the right team, with the right car, he can really be up there. That's what his dad said, though. And his dad's obviously got to be on his side. I completely understand that. But his dad literally came out and said, if he gets the right car and the right tools, he can compete for the championship. He's had them. The past 2-3 years, that Red Bull has been the most dominant car. And it's not even like he was finishing second to Max. He wasn't even doing that half the time. So I think, to some respects, it's embarrassing from his dad to come out and say that. Oh, if he gets the right car and the right tools, and then he said, my son will be world champion. And listen, Sergio's a really nice guy. He is. So you don't want to beat a guy while he's down, but he's not. He's not world championship material, is he? He's not. As much as you want him to be. Oh, Charles Leclerc is not happy with Carlos Sainz. What was that about? He just blanked him. What the hell? Sainz went over to shake his hand and Charles Leclerc just fucking blanked him. Oof. Perez is a good racer. He's just not the caliber of someone like Charles Leclerc, Norris, Hamilton, certainly not Verstappen. He's not at that level, is he? And there's no shame in that. He's still a good driver. He's not at that level. Charles Leclerc looks really furious, honestly. I don't know why he's furious with Sainz. I mean, he's not done anything wrong. Anyway, right, that's it. Now, this is the second race of a triple header, which means next weekend is Brazil. So, yeah. Yeah, Carlos was moaning about team play and stuff, but, I mean, you kind of expect that, don't you? To some extent. You kind of expect that. Yeah, so next week is Brazil. We'll be back for that. Thank you for joining me. Had a lovely time. And I will see you tomorrow for more memes. I think we might try and do some iRacing tomorrow. So have a lovely rest of your Sunday, whatever's left of it. And I will see you tomorrow. Goodbye.